like that yet.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? How are you guys doing? Thank you guys for tuning in. I am the Mr. Yours, and today we're playing Everything King's Return on PC. And we got something very special for you guys today, brought to you by Derek Defies. If you guys don't know Derek Defies, he's an amazing YouTube content creator, and he breaks into the Evony coding and tells you exactly what's going on with the mechanics of the game. Definitely check him out. His video description, his channel is actually down in the description down below, and his code on Aptoid is actually Red Wi-Fi, all capitals, one word. Make sure you guys use it. And just so you know, this video is brought to you guys by Aptoid up in the corner. Make sure you guys use the code MrYours or Red Wi-Fi for an extra 5% with every single purchase. We're going to be taking a look at Derek's video today. I talked to him earlier, made sure we could take a look at it. I don't want to get in trouble. So we're going to go ahead and check that out. We're definitely going to check that out. We'll talk to you guys for a little bit. And I also want to talk to you guys about a couple of things too that we plan on doing for the future. It's going to take me some time to get it set up, take me some time to get things set in place for it. But we're going to go ahead and do it. We'll discuss that in a couple of minutes. Yeah, Derek is the man, dude. Seriously. Chris, what's going on? Chris, how you doing? Sam, what's going on? Austin, what's going on? Shofaru, what's going on? How you guys doing? Thank you guys for stopping in. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope all is good for you guys. I really do. So a couple of things that I wanted to go over is what I plan on doing for you guys in the future. And one of those things is I plan on giving away a keep. I'm going to be giving away a keep to you guys. It's going to be K35 Plus on server 529. We're going to be giving away, 529 is still Bubble or Burn. We have NAP during the RSS consumption event once a month, a couple of days. So yeah, my plan for you guys is we're going to work out the details, over time. It's just a thing. It's a work in progress. It's a work in progress right now, but we're going to be giving away a K35 Plus to somebody that's a viewer. We'll announce the details to that later on. It's not just gonna be a wheel spin, nothing like that. I want to make sure it's the right person for our server, and we want to make sure it's someone that's gonna fit into our lines very well, and someone that's not gonna just take the keep and use it for their own advantage or take it and sell it or anything like that. Thank you, Florence. Much appreciate it. Much appreciate it. Megatron was doing good till they took my troops today on an alt. Well, you need to talk to them and tell them to cut the shit. No. By the way, if you guys haven't, if you guys are just tuning in, if you guys can, make sure you guys tap that sub button and turn on notifications. Also, make sure you guys smash the living hell out of that like button and share this channel. That's for sure. So, I mean, as far as giving away the K35 Plus, you know, I think there's gonna be some stipulations to that. You know, I'm not just gonna give it to anybody that's just gonna come into here. You know, I want to talk to my R5s, my R4s. I want to talk to leadership and set some ground rules to who's gonna get it. And I'm also, you know, talking with the Tay and whatnot. You know, he had some pretty good ideas to, you know, maybe make it kind of like a stream where we do a charity stream, you know, like, and all donations go to a charity. And I already have one in mind that I want to donate to, and it actually means a lot to me because, you know, it'd be regarding my niece, and, you know, the details will be explained, but, you know, we'll figure it out. But there'll be stipulations to it, and anybody will be able to join. But yeah, that's our plans for the future, just so that way you guys do know. Jihad, what's going on? By the way, T-Bone, what's going on, my man? So yeah, we'll keep the details posted in Discord. I didn't post anything yet. I didn't make a channel for it yet. I'm gonna make a separate channel for it and kind of keep you guys up to date. But I just got a lot to figure out before I actually go ahead and do it. And I also have to purchase. I have to buy a foster account that I can take in and hold on to until I give it away. But to me, it'll be well worth it, I think. It'll be well worth it. So just so that way you guys are aware, if you haven't checked, Derek Defies over here has posted a new video today. Ultimate Defense Guide Part 2, the Incredible T1s. Now, I started watching the video at work today, then I said, hold on, you know, wait a minute. I want to wait and watch this either when I get home, when I can pay full attention, or when I stream. So we decided to do it while I streamed. In 5 minutes, I can't comment on YouTube, but I can mail. All right, no problems, bud. We're going to be watching Derek Defies' video here in a second. I'm going to be muting the music, which we will do now. We'll pause that. We're going to get into his video. So a big shout out to Derek Defies. Make sure if you guys haven't, if you guys can, go follow him on YouTube. Hit that sub button. Check out his videos. Make sure you guys smash that like button. He is also a YouTube content creator who uses Aptoid and has a code Red Wi-Fi. So we're going to make this a short stream today. I just kind of wanted to take a look at this, go over it with you guys, and watch it together and kind of just, you know, pick it apart and see what he has to say. And I'm going to assume that there's going to be some pretty interesting parts in here as far as humor goes. So I can't wait to see that because he has some pretty incredible stuff that he posts, and I always look forward to watching it. Not So Sane, what's going on? Not So Sane, how you doing, my man? Thank you for stopping in, brother. Hope you're doing well. Not So Sane is live on kick.com right now. He's playing Warzone, and his handle is Not So Sane 187. If you guys like any Warzone or Farlight or first-person shooter content, make sure you guys go follow him on kick.com. All right, we're going to jump into this video. We might pause it, throw the video here and there. We'll see. Let's get into it and see what he's got.
This video is brought to you by Aptoid, where you can download mediocre games and save 15 to 35% on your in-game purchases.
What's going on, Ash? How you doing, brother?
Coins. Use the promo code Red Wi-Fi and start saving now.
Let's do this.
Rest in peace, headphone users, and welcome back to the Ultimate Evony Defense Guide, Part 2, where I will explain why Tier 1s are the best units in Evony, and it's not even close. This video will cover how to make the ideal Tier 1 keep, how it works, including different Tier 1 troop arrangements, the number of troops you need, and finally, how to counter it. The first part of this video is designed so you and I can share with members of our alliances to turn them into free-to-play keeps capable of ruining the game for heavy coiners on par with that of Evony developed.
What can we do to make more money? Fake ads. K45. Invest in better servers. Yeah, B25. And they threw him out the window. Go figure.
Themselves. Before we get started, we have to define what winning a battle is. So if you look at this battle report, who would you say has won? Now, it does say victory, and it was a successful defense. The attacker lost more power, but you cannot tell who won this battle, because the attacker here sent tier 11 siege, and the defender lost tier 4 siege. And now tier 4 compared to tier 11 give more points in SVS.
What's going on, Docs? Derek Defy is in the channel himself. What's going on, Derek? How you doing, my man? Looking forward to watching this video with you, brother.
And battlefield per power. So in fact, the attacker won the point exchange in this SBS or battlefield scenario. So I added this to my simulator to take a closer look at what's going on. And here we have 6 million tier 11 versus 200 million tier 4 siege. Now obviously there's going to be more troops involved in this. However, when you send a tier 11 siege march, they're going to attack the lower tier siege first of the enemy. This is because lower tier siege, the tier 1 through tier 4, have a low range, and they have to move closer in the battlefield in order to reach the enemy.
You haven't watched this yet, dude? Are you kidding me? Come on, you're kidding me right now, right? You're joking.
And they have to move closer in the battlefield in order to reach the enemy. Tier 11 happen to have that sweet spot range where they will target the tier 1s to tier 4s before they target the...
So we actually discovered this the other day with a couple of people in Discord about how that worked. You know, to why the T1 to T4 siege is actually a pretty crucial part to your defense.
Higher tier siege. And I will go into more detail in a later video on how range and speed works. Spoiler alert, speed skill books are still useless. However, moving on, we see that the tier 11s killed the 36 million tier 4s, 180 million power, and they won on the point exchange.
That's wild, man. That really is wild. Panda, what's going on, Panda? How you doing, my man? Derek, I hope you cover in this video how wall generals don't matter for T1 defenses. Because I ran Shahar for BOC and all of SVS, and it was so amazing. So amazing.
If we change these tier 4s to tier 1s, because we realize that tier 4s are a bit of a liability because they give away so many points, the tier 1s still win, but the tier 11s obviously take out a lot more troops because tier 1s are weaker. And in terms of power, the tier 11s take out more power. But when you look at the point exchange, the tier 1s won this quite handedly. And all we did was change from tier 4 to tier 1. We didn't change any buffs or anything like that. When we take a look at the base stats, we'll notice that tier 1s are worth only 1 point in SBS versus tier 15, which are worth 70 times that much.
Now, come on, bro. You get the best ways to just describe names, all right?
So this is going to be the same among both of them. So tier 15s have to justify being worth 70 times more than tier 1s. And they can't. They're not 70 times stronger. They are way more than 70 times to train or heal. And when we look at another battle simulation, and this is tier 1s to tier 15s. Now, what I did is I put 7,000 tier 1s here, 100 tier 15s, and that is 70 times more. So these are worth the same amount in terms of battlefield points. And what I did was I gave the tier 15 3,000% buffs on everything, which I would say resembles a K40, if a K40 can even reach this much. And the tier 1 is like a K33 with Achaemenid gear with the highest flights they can get. So when we look at this battle, we can tell that the tier 1s won, and they won in terms of point exchange. So tier 1s are just superior on so many metrics, with the obvious drawback being that you have a limited march capacity, and therefore you can't send a billion tier 1s to burn someone, no matter how glorious that may seem. So tier 1s are primarily used defensively and not offensively. However, they are viable to use offensively. You can get a general, put flat refines on their gear, and attack players that are over 1 billion power and come out positive by just sending tier 1 marches at them. Now, you could do this on a tier 1 march, or you could do a tier 1 rally. And even though it will only take a little bit of power off of them, you are coming out positive. And you could do this multiple times and whittle away
Wow.
their power slowly. So the reason you should transition to a tier 1 defense instead of just ghosting is because Evony has implemented features into the game to punish players who ghost. One such feature, which is quite prominent, is their latency anti-ghosting program. So let's go over how to make the most common and most potent tier 1 defense, and that is the mounted troop defense. This will be a basic guide that can be modified as you see fit, and we'll break down the purpose of every troop later in the video. So with ground troops, you want no more than 10,000 of every ground troop. Archers, you want at least 100,000 archers in each layer, and you can make many more. With siege, 100,000 siege, but not too many, and 10 to 1,000 mounted units above tier 1. And with
So, Derek, are you specifically saying that making this just for a T1 trap, right? I'm assuming that's where you're going with this, like with the layers that you're talking about. Like these are kind of the numbers you're looking at for a T1 trap. Okay.
Tier 1s, you want to make as many tier 1s as you can, and once you approach about 100 million tier 1s, you can start transitioning into tier 2s and tier 3s. Equip your wall general and sub-siege generals with with debuff gear. Refine your wall general gear and your dragon with flat buffs for your mounted units. This is flat HP, flat defense, and when it comes to attack, you can make flat attack buffs for mounted and archers, and maybe even siege if you get a good siege refine, and make a march preset to heal 10 of every troop, so you can recover your layers after every attack.
But players can modify as necessary. It's basically a cookie cutter guide for players who need structure. Okay. All right, I like that. That's very good.
All right, so let's go over the purpose of these troop numbers that I've given you. The ground troops will get wiped out by a ground or mounted attack, and you don't want to donate points to the enemy. The purpose of these layers are to act as protective layers, as well as possibly taking out the enemy frontline protective layers. At 10,000, it is enough to survive attacks from the most common 1,000 troop layers players send, but it's low enough to not receive too many wounded. The archers in your defense are to wipe out the enemy protective layers, as well as attack the main forces of the enemy. They do all of this while hiding behind your tier 1 horses.
I have to say, I truly am impressed at the range on how they perform in reports as a T1 account. Okay, so like my K36 is like a T1 trap, but it's also like kind of like a hybrid. But the range do so phenomenal, so good. And I've been focusing a lot on my T8 range. Been working out very well.
And feel free to make as many archer units as you want, as they are a safe way to increase your defensive capabilities, and they won't leave you vulnerable. This is because the enemy would have to go through all your siege layers to get to your archers, or they'll have to get through all your tier 1s to get to your archers. And siege has the same function as archers, but they have one caveat. They can be targeted by enemy siege, so I don't recommend making too many, as an enemy attack can easily go to the enemy's favor. You want to be able to kill the enemy's protective layers in one round of battle while not making yourself too vulnerable to siege attacks. So when we cover a scenario where you get attacked by mounted or ground, and both of them are pretty similar in what happens, the enemy mounted and ground units, they're going to target your ground units first, which means that if they set 3 million mounted units and 3 different layers, their tier 14s are going to kill your tier 14 ground units, and their tier 13s are going to attack your tier 13 ground units, and their tier 12s are going to attack your tier 12s. Well, that will now leave the tier 11s, tier 10s, and tier 9s, and most enemies generally don't put too high of layers in those. Those are going to be about 10,000 troops each or 1,000 troops each, and they're not going to be able to take out your tier 11s, your tier 10s, and tier 9s. So what's going to happen is that will leave the enemy taking out about 30,000 of your ground troops, and the rest of your troops will attack them and take out their layers and take out whatever troops they have in their main forces. And then it's going to be their next turn. Then their next turn, their tier 14s are going to attack your tier 11s. Their tier 13s are going to attack your tier 10s, and so on. And this is going to waste several of their turns, and all they're getting is protective layers. They're not going to be able to take out that many troops. At the same time, you will completely wipe out their protective layers, and your archers and your tier 1 mounted troops are going to be taking out those main forces. So I've had several players with tier 1 mounted defenses tell me that ground marches destroy them, and they want to know why. What can they do better? The first thing I asked them is to see their wall general so I can look at their refines. Most players use the tier 1 mounted defense as arrow fodder. It's just to protect them from ranged marches. The ranged marches just stop at the mounted troops and can't go any further. Now, it is...
That looked like the... Oh, I can't think of it. That looked like the horse from World of Warcraft in Karazhan. The first one. The first boss in Karazhan. Oh, yeah. No, I like that, Derek, because, you know, after, like, going through so many reports, it's like, I only train between 100 and 200k ground units, but I never train more than that. You know, I always keep an eye on what they get for wounded in between attacks, and it works out so much better. Oh, that Skyrim? No kidding. Can I send you a report after that video? Myself or Derek, I'm sure we're both welcome to it. Leonard Dietrich. And, you know, the ground is such a big power loss if you have too much of it, I've noticed too. And I like how you mentioned there, you know, it's just protective layers.
Somewhat viable, but you want to give yourself some mounted attack refines, especially for these ground troops. And I'm going to give you an example. Here we have 100 million tier 1 mounted, and through the calculator, we can tell you that you'll kill about 24,000 ground troops, and these ground troops have 2,500 buffs on everything. So when we change the buffs, and here we have the opponent, and here's their buffs right here for their ground units. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at our mounted buffs, and we're going to change from 3,000 on our flat.
That's one thing I've noticed too, is a lot of players lack the, and I don't want to put this out there in the wrong way. You know, I don't want to nag on anybody, so to speak, but like a lot of players are having a big problem with ghosting for certain marches, and I think that just kind of comes with experience, you know, where like I personally generally have enough time to see what they're sending. You know, I can quickly see what generals they're hitting me with and see what troops are hitting me with, and that generally gives me enough time to ghost a certain march compared to the other. And I think that's just a big learning curve for players to kind of understand, is, you know, where they're like, okay, they ask you for some advice and they're like, okay, I did it and it didn't work. Well, you know, what did you have for troops? What did you have for ghosted troops? What did you unghost? What did you ghost? You know, were you quick enough to see what they were sending? Were you not quick enough? You know, what's the scenario? And I think a lot of this, the biggest learning curve as a T1 trap is just experience. You know, and I think you take a lot of that time and learn in Battlefield instead of SVS or KE. Because not a lot of players have the capability or the learning curve to, you know, see what they're sending and being able to go so quick or unghost certain marches.
To 10,000. And let's see what happens. Let's go back to the calculator, and we went from killing 24,000 to 124,000. And that's such a huge amount. So every turn, your tier 1 are going to be taking out 124,000 of their tier 14, along with your archers and your siege and every other unit. This will help take out those ground a little bit quicker. So along that line, let's also discuss the top amount of mounted troops you should make. So here's 100 million. Let's say instead of 100 million, we had 400 million. Now we're taking out 500,000 tier 14 ground every turn. And you can scale this up. We can say instead of
that's
4,
huge.
we could put 8 here. And now we're taking about 1,000,000 ground troops every turn. And this is going to obliterate a ground march that hits you. But it only matters if you have those attack refines. Now, once you get to an absurd amount of mounted troops, and trust me, this will happen, where players will get 8 billion mounted troops. I've seen 6 billion. It's pretty insane. You're never going to fight this many tier 14s unless you're fighting a K-45 that's sending a giant march at you. So what you could do at this point is you can lower your attack refines and put it into range or something else at this point. This is a bit overkill. What's good about taking out an entire tier 14, or honestly this could be tier 15 at this point, march, is that you will not lose with counter damage on troops. And if you don't know what counter damage is, I made a video with it in my mechanic video. Basically, if you don't kill an entire layer in one hit, you will receive wounds and lose troops because of that. Moving on from refines, let's talk about wall generals and what is the best wall general for your tier 1 mounted defense.
Okay, I want to hear this, Derek.
There is none. I get it. A lot of you are going to say Boudica or Boudica, whatever her name is, and I'm going to tell you that's not true. It doesn't really matter. What matters is the equipment refine.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Derek.
See, Boudica gives your mounted troops percent buffs, and tier 1s don't care about percent buffs. They don't really help them out that much. So what's happening is you are now investing in this general that is putting a lot of buffs into troops that you're not even going to have in your keep. You're not going to have a bunch of tier 14s and tier 13s in your keep, so they're not going to benefit from these percent buffs. So let's compare Boudica to Zachary Taylor. Both of these you can find in the relics right now, and Zachary Taylor is an archer wall defense general. If we were to level them up, enhance them, cultivate them, max out their specialties, Boudica will give your tier 1 mounted troops an extra 707 attack, 457 defense, and 1,516 HP. And that is less than the refines you get on your gear. Zachary Taylor would give your tier 1 mounted troops 484 attack, 390 defense, and 977 HP. So look at the difference between these and ask yourself, is investing into Boudica really worth it when you can invest these blood of Ares into your marching generals, into your subsidy generals, into your duty generals, which would have a much better effect. So we've been talking about tier 1 mounted, but let's compare it to tier 1 ground, tier 1 archers, and tier 1 siege. So tier 1 ground have a great HP and defense, and they would make a great wall, though they do have a lousy attack. The biggest reason that people don't use tier 1 ground over tier 1 mounted is due to ranged attacks. Archers are going to shoot right over the ground units and hit your mounted units, and after they're done attacking your mounted units, they're going to go after your archers. So tier 1 ground don't protect that very well. However, you can still use them and make a defense strategy around them. Now, tier 1 archers are lousy at soaking up any damage. They are the last units attacked. However, if you have flat refines on archer attack, tier 1 archers actually can do a significant amount of damage for a very cheap troop. Tier 1 siege is great for soaking up damage from mid-tier siege, as we showed earlier in this video. However, their range is not that great, which makes it so that they're mostly attacking the enemy ground forces, and they're not going to be doing that much damage due to enemy's ground, high defense, high HP, and the troop modifier siege has against ground. 15 minutes in this video, and I finally get to talk about how to counter tier 1 defenses. If you're expecting some super secret amazing strategy, I don't have one. There's plenty of variables to go over, and tier 1 defenses are never the same. However, tier 1 defenses hate rallies. They hate rapid attacks and siege attacks. Your goal in taking out a tier 1 defense is to take out their protective layers and don't give them an opportunity to heal. Trick them into unghosting their troops and punish them hard. Naturally, tier 1 defenses have poor buffs on all the other troops, so you're going to want to go after those first. For rallies, send a mix. Send a siege, send some archers to put damage on the mounted, and send a ground or mounted along with that. And how to choose ground or mounted is really going to depend on their archer composition and their buffs that they have, whether they have flat refines on archers or mounted, and you don't know, so it's a guessing game. Rapid attacks are similar to rallies, but it's basically throwing all your marchers at them at once so that they can't heal layers in between. Healing those layers really do make a difference. And if you attack with siege, then ground or mounted and range in that order, your range troops will really only have to deal with the tier 1 mounted, and the tier 1 mounted can only take out one layer at a time, and that's 14 layers of ground, 14 layers of mounted. That's 28 turns that your archers are going to have to take out those mounted troops. And if you scout them and you see that they're ghosting their mounted, you can send a slow fake march with the blue dragon, showing that you're about to hit them and they're possibly going to unghost their mounted troops in preparation for that, and then you just hit them with an archer attack. The same thing can happen if they were ghosting their ground troops. Send an archer or siege attack, let them respond to it, and then hit them hard with mounted. Okay, well, that will wrap up this video. However, you will not want to miss my next video where I explain the
Ooh.
speed and range mechanics and tell you how Evony has been lying to you about range and speed values for the troops.
I can't
I'm
wait.
not kidding. They have been lying to us. I'm also making a monster calculator so you can determine how many troops you will need to kill any monster. All the monster stats and hidden values in the game. This will also help you increase your World Boss score. So I've been working on something big, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out.
You heard
I
the
plan
man.
on streaming and answering your questions and going over battle reports. These videos take an enormous amount of time to make, so I appreciate your support and thank you to everyone out there.
No, Derek.
Boudica.
Boudica. Boudica. Boudica. No, Derek, thank you for what you do, and thank you for putting it out there, man. It truly is amazing content, and the work that you do is underrated, man. It really is, and I personally think that it deserves more. To me, it definitely deserves more, in my opinion. And I gotta say, just thank you, Derek, for all the hard work you do, man. It truly is amazing, brother. And it should be well respected because you take the time and energy to put this information out there for people that have a hard time learning. And I think it's going to go a very long way. So thank you for the videos, man. Thank you for the content. And, you know, you definitely cover a lot of this. You cover a lot of the questions that, like, general players ask, you know, and it's honestly straightforward answers, but, you know, it's very helpful the way that you explain it. And I think that's going to be very good for the community, all of Evony community. And I know there's a lot of players out there that are just sick of the T1s, but I mean, to me, it's part of the game, and it's kind of necessary nowadays, especially if you want to be competitive. Definitely keep up with the work that you're doing, man, and it's amazing to watch. It really is. There's a lot of stuff that I learned from you that I changed things on just my own end. And I look forward to future content about that as well. Big shout out to Derek Defies, man. Make sure you guys go check out his channel. Drop him that subscribe. He's earned so much attention from me, I think, and people are gonna realize what he's brought to the table. It's gonna be very helpful for everybody. Very, very helpful for everybody. And Derek, hopefully, man, I really hope that you do start streaming soon, dude. I'm very excited to see you start streaming. I'm excited to see you stream. I'm excited to see your content as well. Hopefully you can do that soon, man. Helps you improve your videos. I was honestly, dude, I'm kind of disappointed with one thing. I wasn't able to see your potato mic. Like, come on, man. Like, that mic is so impressive. For me, that's like one of my favorite parts was just seeing that potato mic, all right? So yeah, dude, I use Shahar. I mean, I'm not too sure if we're friends on my K36 or not. I know I've rehomed a couple of accounts, and I don't know who we're friends with anymore. But we definitely get a link up on my K36. I'll send you those reports from Shahar if you want to take a look at them. And also, I'm using what's her name for this upcoming BOC. I'm using Queen Jindiok. I'm using Queen Jindiok on my K36. Imagine going to the grocery store just to buy a potato for a mic gag. I love it. I love it. Next time, once that potato is no good, let me know, and I will. I'll pay for the potato. Okay, pay for the whole bag. But yeah, I'll send you the reports, man, just so you can take a look at them. And honestly, I think you can probably give me some pointers too, to how I could change a couple of things. And I'll kind of explain to you like why I'm building my keep the way I am. You know, like for my K36 right now, I'm focusing very heavy on T8 ranged, T8 to T10 ranged with a couple of flat attacks. And also I'm focusing a lot on T1 to T4 siege with siege percent attacks. But that's just because I'm kind of heavy in the T13, T14 siege. But hopefully I can change it around soon. And I'm very curious to what you think about my reports and what you think about my setup too. But listen, guys, that's it for me for today. So we have, I believe, 3 more weeks of BOC, and then the qualifications for challenge start. Well, challenge starts in 3 weeks. All right, guys, listen, that's it for me. Derek, thank you very much. Big shout out to Derek Defies for the content. Awesome videos, awesome guy. Make sure you guys go follow him on YouTube. Make sure you guys have that sub button for him and smash that like button on all his videos. And make sure you guys check out channel to that way, you know, support him with the code Red Wi-Fi as well. For now, guys, have a good night. Thank you guys for being here. If you haven't, if you guys can, make sure you guys have that sub button and turn on notifications. Also, make sure you guys smash that like button and check out Aptoid up here in the corner, way up there, now that I'm tiny. And use the code Mr. Yours or Red Wi-Fi down below. And I'll catch you guys next stream. So you guys take care. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good night. Peace, chat.